Spartan Nation, what's going on? This is Ken, the super cool Spartan from Q the Woodshed, here with Quafo, the super connective Spartan here. We're back to doing our classic Spartan series. Our third co-host, Brian, the super mad Spartan, is just playing super producer right now for this dynamic interview we want to get into. Again, part of our classic Spartan series here. And this lovely Spartan here that's sitting in the middle of us here in the screen, her name is Allison Horn. She is the Vice President of Executive Communication and Legislative Affairs with the MSU Credit Union. I wanted to make sure I read that correctly so it could come out clear. So, Allison, welcome to Q the Woodshed. It's such a pleasure for you to be on the show with us.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Not a problem at all. So, let's get right into it. So, as we glow in the decisive victory that Michigan State had this past weekend over Prairie View. But so, Allison, first question, what made you choose Michigan State? What made you, when you were a senior in high school many, many years ago, like me and Quafo, and you were sitting down looking at all those different college applications, and what made you choose the green and white?
Yeah, so I'm actually from a super small town in the UP on the Wisconsin border. And, I felt like a lot of my friends in my class were all going to Minnesota schools or Wisconsin schools. And I don't know, something I wanted to be different. And then my boyfriend at the time, his older sister went to state, and she told me a lot of stories about her experience, and I really idolized her. And so that's kind of what did it for me. So I came down, it's about an 8-hour drive from my parents' house down to Michigan State, and it's one of the best choices I ever made.
Oh, great. Glad to hear it. And what years were you at Michigan State? Were you part of the old trimester days or the semester days?
No, we did semesters.
Okay. Because
I was there 2005 through 2009, so 18 years ago now.
Okay. Yeah, so you were there with my brother Brian. He was there around that time. Yes, yep. The hate to say it, but those dreadful John L. Smith years.
We don't talk about that on this show, Ken. That's part of, we gloss
my
over
bad.
that.
My bad.
Ring that out.
I'm gonna kick it to you, Quafo. What you got for us?
Allison, thanks for joining us today. Great to have you. Obviously, we know each other through our day job, so this is kind of a fun setting for us to be involved with. But I wanted to ask you, what is your most memorable MSU game? Either you were in the stadium in person, or that you watched like with friends and family. There's so many probably to choose from in the time you've been affiliated with the university and even the work with the credit union. But what brings you back?
When I was thinking about this question, I would honestly say my very first game, coming from a super small town and then being on campus with 40,000 other people, like that was such an incredible experience. I think I just walked around tailgate in a complete daze. Like I had never been part of something that was that big, and it just blew my mind, honestly. Like I could not get over it. And then, walking out into the stadium for the first time and just seeing the people everywhere, like it was amazing. I mean, I still remember that moment very vividly of what that environment was like, because I had never experienced anything like that ever. Where I'm from, everybody's Packers fans. And that
Yeah.
was not
Oh,
what my family wanted to do. We were Lions fans.
yeah.
So I never had been to a game like that in my life. So that blew my mind. And then the other game that like I just loved was when we played Michigan my freshman year in 2005. We ended up losing the game, I think by 3. But there was a moment where Chad Henne fumbled and Domata, he's this big linebacker. He got the fumble. He ran it in 75 yards for a touchdown. And like, he was kind of slow, but his team was blocking for him. And he like jumped over a guy into the end zone. And like, I don't think I ever like screamed that loud for so long because it took him a while to run those 75 yards. I was like, just one
He's
of the best experiences ever.
that's a great one because he's not the gentleman you would want to say he's slow to his face. Let me just put it that way. He is a large man who has some, he got after it. We'll just leave it there. So
Yeah,
that's a
he
great
really
memory.
did. But that was amazing.
Yeah. And over to you for the next question.
And I'll say, what's interesting is that those years from, because I went to MSU in the 90s, like the early to mid 90s. So I would say from that time to about D'Antonio first getting to Michigan State, those games against Michigan were pretty competitive. I mean, every time that we play, Michigan, they always show, the big record between Michigan State. But if you really look at those games in more of a specific eye, those were some very competitive games. So it wasn't like these games were blowouts. Every few years, those games were kind of like lopsided. But for the most part, those are pretty, hard fought battles. So, I just wanted to mention that.
And I spanned the 2 eras. So I got to MSU in 96, left in 03 with a, circuitous route. And so like I was in both of those eras. So yeah, you're right. There's a lot of those great memories with, rest in peace, Charles Rogers and Todd Duckett and Jeff Smoker. And there's a lot of fun had on this campus between those times, even though we didn't have, we had the 99 year that was pretty successful, but yeah, it was a good time to be on camp. It's always a good time to be in East Lansing, but those were some interesting days.
Oh yeah. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, I don't want to leave out basketball. So what is your most memorable times, watching the basketball team, whether it was in person or, you're kicking it at the Riv. I don't know if the Riv was still around, in that time.
Oh yeah. Crunchies was always my
Crunchies.
jam. Beer. Can't go wrong with the buckets of beer.
Right.
For me, I could sit there and I could watch Tom Izzo the entire game. He is the most entertaining fellow Youper that I have ever seen. But I think some of the games that even some of the games that we ended up losing, like making it to the Final Four, making it to the Elite Eight, but just being able to watch the teams get better at each stage of the tournament has always really impressed me, and I'm hoping that Coach Smith can do something similar with the football team this year. Tom has this amazing ability. They start slow at the beginning of the year. You think they're not going to be a contender, and then they just get better with every single game. And then March comes and it's like a different team, So I think right now with Coach Smith, what is he doing to bring his team together, make them play as a team, so that they can kind of grow together and have a similar experience. But the hope is that in a rebuilding year, we do see them get better with every single game and, iron out some of those errors that they made in the previous game. So for me, it's just always seeing how Izzo turns those teams around when it's tournament time. And like, you don't expect it. Even though we should kind of expect it at this point.
Yeah, after 30 years, right? You should probably just death taxes and Izzo will.
Yeah.
He's my all-time favorite Youper too. So I mean, love me some Tom Izzo.
There you go.
Have you had a chance to meet Tom Izzo?
Oh yeah, a couple times. Through the credit union, I get to do a lot of fun events where we're either sponsoring different events and things like that. So I've been able to meet him. I used to meet him at camp out when I would do that for the Izzone. I always get a couple pictures with him too. I think I almost hit him with my car one time.
Oh.
He was at his parents lived in the same subdivision as my uncle, and he was jogging, and I was stopped at a stop sign, and he did the like, you go ahead, and I was like, the you go ahead, and then like we both went ahead.
Oh.
And so like, oh my gosh, I would have like,
UP9. You would have changed the course of history, Allison.
I know. I would have had to transfer, change my name. Yeah, but I was like, and I was like, oh my God, is that Tom Izzo? Like, up in Iron Mountain. But yeah, I was just like, oh God, thank God that didn't actually happen. But so now I'm just like, no, I refuse the go ahead. I will sit there and wait to do the go ahead.
Yeah, Coach is really gracious with his time. I mean, I've gotten to see him over the years and see him do different things. So I will concur with that. Like, he's pretty, there's a lot asked of him, in our community and through our state and throughout Spartan Nation. So he is pretty gracious. So, Coach, if you're watching, we're giving you your flowers. So, not all social media is bad, Coach.
Right.
So.
Right. Especially Q the Woodshed. We're pretty friendly on here. So,
yeah, Coach.
One day we're going to get you on here, Tom. So shout out to Coach Izzo.
That's
right. So on you, Quafo, what you got for Miss Allison Horn here, representing the MSU Credit Union to its fullest?
Yeah, for sure. We can't miss the opportunity with someone from MSUFCU, one of my favorite financial institutions, going. And the work you all are doing, you guys were kind of early in this phase. The Women in Sparta program. I don't know if you want to take a little bit of time, Allison, and talk a little bit about what that is and how that's integral into what we're doing with student athletes here at MSU. So the floor is yours to talk a little bit about the Women in Sparta program that the credit union is involved with.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm so pumped to talk about the Women of Sparta program. There's nothing else like it right now. And so I do hope that this is replicated across other universities. When corporate partners are looking for partnerships with these student athletes, I think a lot of times, you go for the big names, you go for the football players and the basketball players, of course, but we've partnered with the MSU women's basketball team for, I think, going on 4 years now, and so we have agreements with all of those student athletes on the women's basketball team, and we enjoyed that experience so much, and we've had such a great partnership with these athletes. We wanted to expand our reach this year. And so we decided that we wanted to do 2 additional athletes in each of the other collegiate sports. So 2 rowers, 2 soccer players, 2 golfers. And so they were able to apply. We had a big launch event that was super fun. And so we reviewed all of those applications. They talked about building leadership skills, and we were able to go through that and partner with a number of those athletes as well. And so it's still kind of in the early stages of that. So we're working through those agreements with those athletes. But, it's just a pleasure. These individuals are just incredibly hardworking. I mean, we're all at state. Like, I can't imagine doing school in addition to playing a sport, in addition to internships and planning for your future. So, I mean, these are the perfect individuals to partner with for us because they're hardworking. They're already leaders. They will be leaders in our community. And so if we can have a positive impact on that, it's something that we just feel is the right thing to do. The other thing I'll add too is just we do, of course, the monetary agreements with the athletes, but it's a lot more comprehensive than that. We are also doing media training, internships, job shadowing, a lot of financial education. And so it's a very comprehensive program. We want to financially support the athletes, but we also want to help prepare them for the future as well. So I could just not be more pumped about this program and being able to launch it and then extend it to all of these other athletes this year too.
Yeah, I'll just, as someone who obviously is in the area a lot, lives in the area, that program has been great. I have two budding basketball playing daughters in my household. So just getting them to have those touch points that the credit union provides with our women basketball players is just amazing. I think it was maybe a year ago you guys had an event at your headquarters. The players were so gracious with their time. They're great. They understand the social media aspect of this. They understand
much better than me.
And understand engagement with the fans. And they had like a dance line going and they were high-fiving. I was like, that's amazing. So you've done a wonderful job with that program. It's good to see that. And like you said, hopefully it's a catalyst for more of this change, especially in women's sports across the landscape.
Yeah, it's important that they have a platform as well, and they get that recognition. And
For sure.
We love working with them, and they're also receptive. And we also have a NIL agreement with Zeke the Wonder Dog.
Wow, that's big time. That's really big time.
Yeah. We're like, can we do this? But yeah, we certainly can. And so now Zeke is on the payroll as well. So he's coming to a lot of our events, and everybody loves Zeke, right? So that's been super exciting for us as well.
That's great. And it's on you.
Yeah, I was going to add that I think the Women in Sparta program is very timely, especially for the basketball team, because the popularity of women's hoops right now, I mean, is through the roof. Especially the past at least two seasons, at least, when Caitlin Clark, was lighting up things when she was with Iowa, and Angel Reese when she was doing her thing at LSU, and the young lady who plays at USC, I can't remember her name. She was Juju Watkins. Yes. So, and even the MSU women's team, because I was watching them in the tournament this past March, and I watched them last year too. So even though they had an early exit both years, but they were very competitive. So I think this program is very timely because of the popularity of women's basketball from college and now to the WNBA, and expanding that to the other women's sports. I mean, that's definitely a good move, and we definitely would like to support you guys here on Q the Woodshed, with the program, spreading the word and see what we can do to help promote it on our end. So. We definitely welcome the opportunity to work with you guys on that.
I've been kind of making the snarky joke that, we were supporting women's sports before it was cool. The saying. But it's nice to see that, a lot of others are catching up too. So.
For sure.
Oh, yeah. What other things about the credit union that you want to share with our audience here? Because for people who don't know, of course, who went to Michigan State, they know all about the credit union. I remember I joined the credit union when I was a freshman, 1,000 years ago, and I know here in the Metro Detroit area where I'm at, there have been more branches that have been built. I know there's a new one that is downtown Detroit now, and there's one that is in Novi that's on the way. So, from an expansion standpoint, how has that been going with the credit union?
Yeah, we will end up opening about 12 branches this year. Novi, like you had mentioned, we have one coming in Brighton, and I think at the end of December as well. But what's also really cool is we've expanded into Chicago this
Oh,
year.
wow,
So
nice.
we opened a de novo branch in Chicago last week. I think we'll open another one on Friday. If all the permits go through. And then we had acquired 2 small community banks north of the city. And so that got us 5 branches there as well. And so, I mean, you all know, like there's 18,000 Spartan students and alumni in like the downtown Chicago region. And so, whenever
Mm-hmm.
we build branches, whenever we're looking to expand, like we go where our members are. And so, when we looked at our numbers and where all of our members are at, Chicago just rose to the top of the list every time. It was cool today. So I was at the stadium less than an hour ago, and I went and talked to the Green Line students. So they're the outbound student call center, and they call all of the alumni and ask for donations and philanthropic giving. And when I'm talking to that group, how many of you are from Chicago? And probably 5 or 6 raised their hand, and there was 30 students there. So I'm just, yeah, like this is why, there's that Spartan contingency in the city. We have members and students that just move back and forth. And so we're really pumped to be moving in Chicago to better support our members in that area. So talking about the expansion, this is our first time going into a new state, but it's been really exciting. And Spartan Nation is kind of strong no matter where they are. So we if you went to state, you're pretty loyal to the team, to the credit union. And so we're happy to go in there and better serve all of our alumni in that area.
That's really cool. That's really cool. And I was at
It's
the
been a busy 6 months.
I was at the MSU football game this past Saturday against Prairie View, and saw all of the MSU Federal Credit Union uh, ads and everything around the stadium. So yeah, you guys really do some pretty cool initiatives. I will say that.
Yeah, we've supported Spartan athletics for a really long time, and it's not only just the athletes that we support. We support a lot of the academic programs, especially we provide a lot of scholarships for study abroad. And so, we want to have an impact on the whole student experience. And a big part of that is supporting our athletes and our student athletes. But we want to be present for all of our students on campus, and kind of be ingrained into their Spartan experience. I'm the same as you guys. When I was a freshman, I lined up outside of the East Lansing branch in the A through L line, and I opened up my account, because I didn't have a mobile app at that
Right.
time. So that's what you did. And
Look it up,
so
kids. There was no mobile app. No
Right.
mobile app. Then I had
Right.
the plastic card forever and a day with my number on it.
yeah,
Like,
lid card.
the only card. Had it laminated.
Hey, I'll
But
take you.
that's my experience. That was part of being a state student. That's what you did during Welcome Week. It's like
That's
you're
right.
inundated
Welcome
with all this
week.
information,
Yes.
and then you open your credit union account, and that was all very formative and a little bit overwhelming when I was a freshman coming to East Lansing for the first time.
Hey, I'll take it back even further. I remember when I when I joined the credit union, those are the days you had to physically go into the branch.
Yeah, most of the students open their accounts online now.
Yes, you had to go
Well,
into the branch and have a seat, talk to the teller.
that's right. Yep.
About the time when I got there, yeah, that's about how long I've been a MSUFCU member. So. More than I care to admit. In terms of my age.
Right. I'm gonna kick it back to you, Mr. Quaffo, sir. What other questions you have here for Miss Allison Horn here, representing the MSU Credit Union to the finest?
Yeah, the last one I have is, Allison, just what are your thoughts on the current football team, right? They're off to a great start, 3-0. A lot of excitement and energy on campus on game days as usual. Just want to get your overview on how you're handicapping the season. That's what we do on this show, is talk about Spartan football, but wanted to get your perspective as an alum, a fan, a local. How are you feeling? How are the vibes? We have a segment where we talk about word on the street. What is Allison Horn's word on the street about Spartan football?
Yeah, so I would have been the connected Spartan, but that handle was already taken. So I'm gonna go with the hopeful Spartan. I've really liked what I have seen, the past 3 weeks, and we've had a difficult couple years. I also lived through the John L. years, though, so I do feel like I have the resiliency to stick with it. But I think like our defense has been doing a great job. Like, love what I'm seeing out of the quarterback. He's 19 years old. Like, his decision making ability has been really impressive. I think he's got great presence on the field. I think we got nowhere to go but up, and so I don't know if I anticipated that we'd start 3-0. I would really like for us to win 4 or 5 more games. So that's kind of my hopefulness and where I'm at. But, when you talk about the vibes too, after the past couple of years, having a rough couple of years, kind of went back to that first tailgate on Friday night, and you're wondering what the atmosphere is going to be like, and how is this going to be different or similar to years past. And it's completely the same. You walk on campus, you walk to that first Friday night tailgate, and it's just like, I just feel like this sense of relief. I'm like, oh, I'm home again. I'm with my people. And so like, that's why it just feels so like good and hopeful going to those games, and the vibes feel the same that they always have. And I think that's just a testament to the fan base that the Spartans have. Everybody's showing up every week, rain or shine. The vibes are great. So I understand that it's a rebuild season, and like, logically, I understand that it's a rebuild season, but like, I got high hopes for the team, and I think that they're going to be able to iron out some of those, some of the issues they've had in the first couple of games. And it's young team, new coach. Like, I'm here for it, though. I'm pumped. I love my Spartans.
Ken, I think she's trying to take my job at this point.
Right.
Broke down the rest of the season.
Well, I agree with you, Allison. When we brought Quaffo on as our co-host here in the show, when we were talking about, we did our preview show, and we were talking about, I think between the three of us, we said that 7-8 wins was at the ceiling. But after looking at these first 3 games, especially the Maryland game, I think the Maryland game was the one that really opened up a lot of eyes. So, there are some very positive things here with this year's team, even though it's still kind of early. And we do have a tough game coming up at Boston College, because Boston College is coming off of a pretty tough loss on the road against Missouri. So that'll be an interesting game. But I think overall, it's a very, like you said, a very positive vibe, about the program. And yeah, I think the program is just can go up from here, especially with Aiden Childs, because with him being so young, we can have him at least for another at least 2-3 years. So
he's going to get better.
Yes,
he's going to get better every game, and he's going to learn his team, and he's going to learn the coach and the play. So, I think Aiden has been impressive so far, especially, considering just like his experience and where he's at. So I'm pumped about where he's at and kind of his potential for the future.
I agree. What about you, Mr. Connected Spartan?
Yeah, I mean, again, Allison just said all the things I would say, so I'm just here for the audience at this point. No, vibes are high, and yes, it's a great time to be a Spartan. It's never really a bad time to be a Spartan, if we're being honest. So it's a great time to be a Spartan. So I'm just happy Allison can join us this afternoon. Anything, Allison, you want to share with the credit unions got going on that people should know about, that our audience should know about?
I feel like we always have a lot going on. But, one of the things that maybe we didn't talk about, and a huge support that we provide for our NIL athletes and then students at the university too, is just the financial education that we offer. So, at any given time, you go to our website, you can find seminars on anything. Like one of our part of our mission is to make sure that we're, helping our community, and especially our Spartan community, become more, financially sound. And so, anyone who's looking for any type of financial education, you're buying a house, buying a car, learning about your credit score, trying to steer clear of fraud, we have all of those seminars available on their website. So you can sign up for them, but then we have a huge library too. So, for all of your listeners, I would really recommend going to our site and looking at that. And there's a lot there to offer, and kind of something for everyone. So I think it's something that we're really proud of as an organization, and we love using those resources to help the students. I know when I was a freshman, I did not know what a credit card was, and just really appreciative that the credit union helped me, kind of change my trajectory. So, I want to make sure that we're doing that for students.
And one other thing I'll point out too is that not only does a credit union support students, they support the alumni, because special shout out to the credit union, Quaffo, as you know. They are a sponsor of MSU Black Alumni Homecoming coming up next month. So definitely want to thank you guys for, being able to sign for a sponsorship, for our homecoming activities. So I definitely wanted to point that out as well.
It's our pleasure.
For sure. That's all I got, Ken.
I do as well. So once again, Allison, we thank you for joining us here for our Classic Spartan series. You actually kicked off our Spartan series for this year. So
lucky me. Yeah.
So it was definitely a pleasure to have you on.
Yeah. Thank you
Thanks,
both. I
Allison,
appreciate
for joining you. Yeah,
not a problem. Not a problem at all. So once again, this is Ken, the super cool Spartan, Quaffo, the super connected Spartan, with Miss Allison Horn, the super duper connected Spartan with the MSU Federal Credit Union. Pleasure to have you on here.
Certainly. Thank you. Y'all have a good day.
Yep.
Go
you
green.
too. Go green.
Go white.